Welcome, everybody. As you can tell from the somber sound of my voice, this week was a disaster in the NFL.
Bodies everywhere.
Week 2 was just a body bag of a week.
It was D-Day.
It was D-Day.
Storming the beach in Normandy.
It was World War III. This felt like an assault on the NFL by some higher power, angry at us. So I don't have the same excitement for you guys this week, but it is 3 and Out. It is episode 4. I'm Marco Barron. That's Eric Waldman. We're going to get right into it. This week we're going to focus on the injuries that were.
Yes.
We'll talk about the pickups you need to make.
The overall impact the injuries have on the fantasy landscape.
Right. We'll find out if your team is a goner at this point after just 2 weeks, or if you have a chance to survive. But first, we're going to talk our New York football teams.
Okay.
We're going to talk Jets with Eric, but we're going to talk Giants with a resident Astoria native. Okay. He's a diehard Giants fan.
Great.
And he probably knows more about the New York Football Giants than he does his own fantasy team. Welcome, Garrett Einerman from the mansion to the show. Garrett, you're on the air.
Hey, Garrett.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you.
Wonderful to be on.
All right. Well, what do you want to press him on first? We'll talk Giants with him?
Yeah, I want to talk Giants. You know, he's probably feeling pretty good about himself.
Probably.
And I got to say, as a sour Raiders fan, and I think, you know, you're feeling good. You're a Jets fan. But
yeah, I'm feeling okay.
Clearly, this is the guy that's 2-0 in front of us. Gary, walk us through that game, offensively, defensively. Where are you guys clicking? Where aren't you? And where do you rank in the NFC East?
So the game this past weekend was definitely the defensive battle everyone thought it would be going into it. Totally kidding, obviously. To be very honest with you, I thought that the Giants could have won the game, 35-0. They had almost, I think it was close to 400 yards of offense, moved the ball really well. A couple of pretty bad turnovers in the first half, one by Cruz and the other by Jennings. And then just a couple really bad red zone plays.
Right.
And that's what kept the game close. But if you really watch the game, the Giants defense really shut down Drew Brees, really, other than the drive here or there. Couldn't get anything going, didn't sustain offense.
Yeah.
And the Giants offense really kind of went through the Saints defense there, and you know, outside of the no-time turnovers and terrible red zone play calling.
Yeah, I did watch the game, and I will say that it looks like defensively the investments are paying off substantially. I've never seen Janoris Jenkins more comfortable. Obviously, Olivier Vernon wreaked havoc. But I'm going to push back at you a little bit on the offense, because while I think ultimately they piled up yards, they spent 3.5 quarters playing a horizontal game with quite possibly the worst defense in the league
on the other side of the
ball.
Yes, but I mean, they were driving. I mean, they were getting first downs. I think, you know, when it was all said and done, I think Cruz, Shepard, and Beckham all had over 85 receiving yards in the game. So if it wasn't for some bad turnovers, it really wasn't as bad as it was up to, I don't think.
Gotcha.
Garrett, listen, I'm a guy that's this is my second year in a row owning Rashad Jennings. I don't know why I keep putting myself in this position, but I do. I see the potential. I'm enticed by it, and I took him again this year. What's up with this guy? Does he just suck, or what is going on? Because I'm ready to say he's terrible. He doesn't seem to. He played 4 good games last year at the end of the year, and everybody bought into the hype train, including myself. Now you thrust him it seems like week in, week out, this guy is presented with a good matchup, and he ends up giving you 15 for 25 yards, no catches, no touchdowns, maybe a fumble, and maybe an injury.
Maybe an injury, that's right.
So what's his deal, man? What is this guy's deal?
Yeah, I'm sad to say, like, it's not that great, and I wish he was better, just being a Giants fan, but, you know, what is he, like, almost 30 years old now? He's kind of a bit of a journeyman. He kind of is who he is. He's, you know, kind of an average running back at that.
So from this point forward, do we see a shift? I mean, he came out of the game with an injury, I'm not sure where, but Vereen, I think, had as many or outsnapped him. And then they got the young kid Paul Perkins. They got Darkwa on the roster. They got 4 running backs on the roster. Do we see another shift back to what they were doing last year with you know, a lot of different guys getting touches?
Yeah, I think it would be a running back by committee. I think Vereen is probably the best guy to own from a fantasy perspective.
Uh-huh.
He probably just gives you the most value. He's always the passing down back. And the Giants are actually starting to trust him a little bit more in the run game now. So I think he's probably good for, you know, maybe 7, 10 touches a game at least.
Okay.
Yeah, that's ultimately the pickup. I'm disappointed in Rashad. He was like the leading rusher over the last 4 weeks, I think, is the stat. It's insane. All right, so what our finish with the Giants is, from your as unbiased as possible. The Cowboys look good. The Eagles are obviously 2-0 and walloped the Bears. Are the Giants the best in the division, or is the jury out because we're only 2 games in and the Eagles, on both sides of the ball, are making noise?
I will say that the Eagles have been a little impressive. I didn't expect Wentz to look this good. He has played the Browns and the Bears, so they're not the best of competition. Jury's still out a bit, but honestly, if I had to take my pick, the Giants have Eli. There's Dak Prescott, there's Kirk Cousins, and then there's Carson Wentz. So give me Eli all day.
I can ride with that. Best quarterback in the division.
Yeah, 3+ receivers. You don't have the same in the Eagles. I think you have to say it's the Giants just from a roster perspective, but I'm impressed with these Eagles.
I'm impressed too. We'll see how long it'll hold up. Don't sleep on the Cowboys either. I don't think.
Skip Bayless
The only
loves
team,
Dak
the only
Prescott.
team I'm really worried about is Washington, because they just the offense looks like a mess right now, and there's rumblings of the locker room starting to turn on.
Who would have thought that Kirk?
But
the
we'll get into that later, because
Yeah.
we'll bring on Zolby, our
That's right.
our resident Redskins
That's right.
insider.
We will cover
we'll see
one
what he
half
has
of the
to say.
MCs. All right, so injuries open the door for trades in fantasy, folks. And you're going to find there's a lot of availability in rosters now,
Yeah.
which means that you might either need something or might find a way to move something and get something that you're lacking yourself. It's trade season already when you get injuries. And our caller, Garrett, you have agreed upon the first trade of the 2016 season between both leagues that Eric and I are in. Tell us about the trade. Tell these folks what the trade is, and honestly, let me know. Do you think you're getting a better deal, or is this just pure, I have too many running backs, let's see if we can upgrade?
Yeah, so the trade, just so everybody knows, I traded away LeGarrette Blount and Dennis Pitta to our friend Spencer for Stephon Diggs, and then he ended up dropping Jared Cook.
Very droppable, smart drop.
Very droppable.
Yes. So that was the trade. The reason that I wanted to do it is for my team personally, I'm pretty running back heavy. I have Lamar Miller, Blount, Martin, Foster, and while I know Martin and Foster are both tweaked the hammy this past week, I needed help at receiver. I know that Blount's long-term value isn't that great. I know Lewis is kind of right around the corner in week 8. And I saw Stephon Diggs, and he was a guy in the draft that I wanted to get. Probably should have jumped on him a little bit earlier. He's one of those guys that can put up 25, 30 points on any given day, and I thought that that's someone that I needed on my roster.
Yeah.
So, I went for it. I kind of expect there to be a couple weeks here or there where he maybe puts up, a goose egg, but I think he'll wake up further. So
no, I mean, I love the trade. Obviously, it looks a lot better after week 2 than week 1, where he's playing with Sean Hill, because Sam Bradford, again, it's one game. Don't want to get too excited, but he looked good.
Bradford looked great.
He looked
I think he was the performer of the week for me.
Maybe
not fantasy-wise, but real life. I mean, this guy, 2 weeks in, looks like he had full control of the offense.
Right.
Looked better than anybody they've had in years. Gary, I agree with you on pretty much all fronts there with the trade, man. I think Blount is his value is limited long-term. I think once Brady is back, they kind of go back to that pass-happy offense.
I'm really hoping they don't. I mean, ride this kid. He's hurtling over someone every game. Picking up
I understand that.
yards after contact.
But they're going to get Brady back. They're going to throw more. They're not going to be as reliant on him. And Diggs is just trending up. I like it. I think it's a good move for you. Pitta,
nice game.
He had a good game.
Really fine game.
But the return for Diggs, who could end up being,
No. I think there's no question. He wins this trade. But this is kind of a good barometer for what you can fetch in your leagues right now.
Sure.
And in fairness to Mr. Spencer Casey, the reason this was also appealing to him is, again, he has Lewis on his bench. So either way, he has number 1 running back.
Which Lewis? Dion
Lewis, yeah.
That's a long wait.
But listen, I don't think it's a bad deal for him either. He's getting 2 players that he can plug into his lineup
I agree.
immediately.
I completely agree. I'm crossing my fingers that Blount stays. I get the argument. I know, but
the volume, I think, right now is unsustainable. He had 22 carries last week, 29 week 2. I don't see it.
But if this is a winning formula, do they have to ask Brady to throw it 50 times a game anymore? Can they move just to a power run-based offense?
No. As long as Brady's on the field, it's going to be centered around him and the pass. Blount will have his games where he approaches 20 carries, but I don't think it's going to be weekly like he's done the first 2
This has been fantastic so far. Tough matchups, though.
Yeah.
All right, Gary, I appreciate the heck out of the time. We're going to let you go. We're going to move on to the Doomsday that was. But thanks for being on the show, and we hope to have you on again soon.
Thanks, boys. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Gary.
Take care. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna get right back into the sadness now. We'll talk to Zolby a little later. We'll end on the Redskins. But you know what? Let me stay a little happier first.
Okay.
Let me talk Jets first.
Let's
talk the New York Football Jets
Green and
first.
white. This game for me just personified what it is to be a Jets fan. Okay. We're up. We're down, we're up. It's just a total roller coaster. 1 second, they look like they're an offense you've never seen before. They're throwing it everywhere. The guys got receivers out of nowhere catching balls. Matt Forte gashing people, scoring 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
but then the other second, you got Revis getting burnt for 99 yards by Goodwin. Greg Salas giving you the revenge touchdown right in our face.
Classic former Jet.
We're up at halftime, and then the Bills come out, score 14 out of the gate. We look terrible, but then they settled down. They started playing smart football. They got back the lead. The final score, 37-31, really doesn't indicate how much the Jets dominated this game.
I completely agree.
Okay. Fitzpatrick looked great as far as I'm concerned. He was 24 for 34, 70% completion. He threw for 370 yards, 11 yards per attempt, only 1 touchdown, but Forte got a lot of work in the red zone, scoring 3 touchdowns. He had 30 carries, an insane amount of volume.
Yeah, that could easily have been 3 touchdowns Fitzpatrick against a monster fantasy day, which we're waiting on.
They bottled up McCoy on the ground. You know, the only thing that's stopping this team from serious from a serious win total, I think, is these big plays.
I know. It would be really ironic. I don't want to say ironic, but it would be very unfortunate if the Jets finally reach the pinnacle of what their offensive capabilities can be. And it's the same year that the greatest cornerback of all time
is Revis as the crux.
Is now looking like Sean Smith. Getting burned for 98-yard touchdowns and the like.
Well, if they haven't learned their lesson now, I don't think he's bad. He's not bad.
Is he misplaying it? What is he doing?
I think it's just Goodwin is like
he's a
world-class sprinter.
I get it.
I think they just got to learn their lesson. Listen, we can't leave Revis one-on-one with no help over the top against these guys that can just outrun all game. You know, you have to scheme something. But to the Bills' credit, to Tyrod Taylor's credit, I know at least Greg Salas' touchdown was on a play where he scrambled out and had over 5 seconds of time to get rid of the ball. So anything can happen on those kind of plays. And he threw the ball way downfield. And I don't think that the Salas touchdown, I don't believe, was against Revis. That was against one of our backups, Montez Miles or something.
That's a good name.
It's a good name.
It's a strong name.
But otherwise, if you take out the big plays, the Bills really didn't do too much on offense. Once again, McCoy was very limited. He went 15 for 59.
A lot of garbage time stats.
Even Tyrod, he had two rushes for 25 yards. I'll live with that. On the Jets side of the ball, offensively, Decker, Marshall, Enunwa, all with 6 catches, all around 100 yards. Decker led the way with 126. He had the touchdown. Marshall with 101. He had the knee scare. But he did tough it out. He came back. And Enunwa had a huge first half. I think he had 5 catches, if not all 6 in the first half. But he finishes with 92 yards. He looks great.
Even they all had chunk games.
Big gains, yeah.
35 for Decker, 37 for Marshall, 34 for Enunwa, and 27 of this kid Jalen Marshall that you were getting at. So I love them pushing the ball down the field. I love
and this is what we were saying last week. I think the Jets have all the intention in the world to keep slinging it, play up-tempo, get as many plays in as they can, throw the ball, spread it out, and they showed it in this game.
Is Forte, obviously we've got to do some ranking shuffling.
Yeah.
How far up does he climb up your ranks at this point? You got
He's
30
He's got to be approaching RB1 territory.
Has to be.
If not in there.
Has to be.
My only concern,
yes,
I mean, with anybody getting this kind of volume, is the injury risk. But he has been a very durable back throughout his career.
I completely agree. I just think it's 30 carries to 1 for your backup is insane. I don't know if that's sustainable. Maybe they protect him a little bit down
Maybe
the line,
as the year goes on, you see Powell getting mixed in more to preserve
possible.
Forte.
But for now, just ride. Stick with that.
Absolutely.
If that was the beginning of your 0 RB strategy, Middle Stat showed us the way.
Yeah.
He crushed me this week.
Good for you if you took Forte in round 4 or 5.
Stacked at wide receiver. Now he's got a full-fledged RB1. I mean, Jets.
Receivers. Decker, again, with a touchdown.
18 games.
18 games. Is he a wide receiver 1? Because last year he finished as a wide receiver 1.
He did.
Now riding into this year, we have not seen any kind of drop off.
Right.
Is he a wide receiver?
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
At least the back end.
I think so. I think he's right around the 11 or 12 range with the uncertainty that we've seen at the position, with the injuries that we've seen at the position. Where are you getting
the consistency? He's the most consistent receiver in the league, I would say.
I don't know why. I think, again, just underappreciated going to the draft this year. You don't do 80 or a touchdown for 16 games in a row.
Yeah.
And then we come in there and disrespect him and toy with, oh, maybe I should take Golden Tate. No, you're an idiot. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
You take Eric Decker. They
Decker.
over Macklin, over all these guys,
All the guys.
over Watkins.
All of them.
And that's the other story of the game, really. Probably the final story of the game. I don't even want to talk about Rex. I don't want to talk about the coaching decision.
No.
It's pathetic.
What do you want to go to next?
That's all the games I want to talk about, because now it's time to get.
Let me get one more thing in. I want to ask you about. I want your opinion on Anudla, because I think he's an interesting player for a lot of people out there, because he still could be on the waiver wire. He could be on the back end of your bench.
If he's on your waiver wire, you're in a bad league.
Yeah, he's a must-own.
Must-own.
Everywhere.
Must-own.
Everywhere.
Totally flexible.
Okay.
He looks great.
He looks great on the field.
He's
And
making plays.
Decker and Marshall both left this game apparently with some sort of injury. Decker with the shoulder or something,
Yes.
I think. But he says that he'll be okay. Marshall had a scarier injury. We don't know exactly what's up with him yet.
Right.
If one of those guys goes down, a new one could wide receiver too. He's going to get the targets. He's shown me he can produce already in the offense.
Yeah, he's an invaluable as a cuff. I completely agree. But just as a pure flex player right now. But yeah, I think if Decker goes out, he's an immediate wide receiver 3.
Okay.
If not in the WR2 conversation.
All right, so we're high on Anunwa.
Yeah.
Go get him. Forte is great. RB1 territory.
Jets are a juggernaut. This is exactly
Jets are an offensive juggernaut.
This is what you guys wanted to see.
And this is also a game where the Jets didn't have any sacks either. I don't think that's going to happen very often.
Right. And that's Tyrod being mobile.
Tyrod's
right.
mobile.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the arrow's pointing up for the Jets.
Who's on deck
I'm
next
happy.
week for you guys?
The Jets get. I don't have it up. You might be able to get it faster than I can.
Oh, the Jets. Week 3.
But they're on the long rest because they played Thursday, so I wouldn't worry about. I wouldn't worry too much about Marshall. Tune in Wednesday when the official team injury reports come out.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's going to tough it out for sure.
He's kind of one of those guys that just toughs it out.
Him
and Decker, really.
Theoretically, Marshall could have, an MCL sprain that they might want to rest him for a week, which leads you to believe that Anu was a must start. I can't find the next game, so
okay.
It doesn't matter. They're going to win. We know it's tough. It might be Arizona. It might be something. I know they play Arizona soon.
Yes. Because they do get the NFC West, I think.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's rock out. Let's move on.
Cue it. I'll look up this GD game.
Chiefs next week. Tough matchup.
But if Texans can pull it off, Jets go 2-1. I'm gonna let this ride a little bit though. I'm gonna let the dead man ride a little bit.
Certainly a factor in week 2. Do you remember a week like this where injuries just destroyed everybody? I don't know.
I know there were some bad weeks. Last year there was a ton of injuries. I just don't know that 12 of them
all in one week.
I think it was more of a one after the other. It was like a big one.
Right. But this was pretty brutal. So let's get right into it. Top of the list, the biggest name, Adrian Peterson, leaves the game with what looked like an ankle injury, but I think now they're saying it's a knee.
So definitely a knee, and he's got a torn meniscus. Official report. So he hobbled through the restaurant of the
that was kind of
the Vikings' new stadium. It was very uncomfortable to watch. He was in a lot of pain. There's like some outside talk that he might gut it out and play. There's other reports that he needs surgery. There's other reports that he'll get the meniscus removed altogether.
Doesn't seem healthy.
I didn't know you could get it removed.
I didn't know that either.
If I knew that, I would have gotten it removed.
Contact lens, you just take it out, you know?
I was like,
so anyway, Peterson's out.
Yeah.
We're assuming he's out for next week and the foreseeable future with an injury like that.
Call it a month for me.
Okay.
I don't think he sees the
Talking
field.
at least 4 games.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So we'll assume that. McKinnon, Asiata, we've seen this before, 2 years prior, 2014. I think for me, we've seen it play out before. I think it'll play out very similarly.
Yes. And what he's getting at, folks, is that while we're all on McKinnon,
Yeah.
and that was the huge stash that everyone had, including
Right.
myself.
Right.
The reality is that McKinnon had half the touches of Asiata. He doesn't have goal line work.
Yeah.
So as talented and fun as he is to watch, it's the Asiata All-Stars.
It's the Asiata show. I think everybody's enamored by McKinnon's the better athlete, blah, blah, blah. He's the better running back. Yes, he is more efficient. But if the past has shown us anything, they prefer Asiata in the red zone.
Yeah.
And otherwise, they're getting about even touches. So you got to take the guy who's going to be in around the goal line.
He played, I think it was 15 games that season that AP missed.
10 touchdowns.
10 touchdowns, almost 900 yards of total offense. He's the guy.
He's the guy.
They're talking about 65-35 split between McKinnon. I'll tell you right now,
I'm not buying it.
I picked up Asiata in both the leagues that we always refer to in this show, and I got to be honest with you, I'm starting Asiata over McKinnon.
Absolutely.
100% as a flex. There's no question.
100%.
I need to see something from McKinnon first because right now the trust is all on Ozzy. You saw it last game.
Yeah.
He came in and he was the one that had more touches, I believe.
For me, it's Asiata too. McKinnon, if I'm a McKinnon owner, I guess I can start him in the flex, but and see what happens the first week. Maybe it'll change, but right now, if I had to bet, I'm betting Asiata.
Right. Tough matchup against the Panthers this week.
Yeah. But the Vikings are always a team that's committed to the run no matter what.
And C.J. Anderson ran train on them. So.
Somebody else can do it. All right, let's move on to the next
Do
guy.
it.
Next big name. Let's go. Let's go Woodhead. My guy, your guy, everybody's lovable little man out of the backfield. Danny Woodhead. Seems to trend with him every other year. He's going down with an ACL.
Is that? I didn't even remember, to be honest.
I think because last year, I think the year prior, he was down with the. Yeah, it could be wrong. Whatever.
That looked like.
But it didn't look too bad on TV.
No.
But apparently it is because he's done for the year. Things were looking great for him, and now everything's been shit on. But what we need to talk about, Melvin Gordon. Where does he stand now? He finished the game with a career high. Both 24 carries, career high, 102 yards on the ground, another touchdown, and 3 catches.
Right.
So where is he now?
I think the what happened to the position over the past week, over the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
More uncertainty here. This has been, week 1 was so great. It was. The games were great. There was a lot of production. But a lot of guys let us down. A lot of guys let us down this week. I think he gets vaulted up to back-end RB1.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean,
100%.
He's getting 25 carries a game in an offense that still
100%,
moves the ball like
offense that
crazy.
moves a lot. Defense is so-so.
Yeah.
I think he must catch a few balls now. The backup was this Farrow kid, this undrafted free agent. They signed Dexter McCluster today, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. He could kind of fill that Woodhead role, but he's not as good.
I think they're gonna. He's gonna.
Let's face it. But Melvin Gordon, 20 touches a game, I think weekend.
McCluster's not getting the 16 carries that.
But I also think it provides a boost for the other San Diego pass catchers too.
Travis Benjamin
looked
and
great.
Tyrell Williams.
Since last week, Tyrell.
Oh my God.
Gotta love Tyrell.
If you picked him up, good for you.
Gotta love Tyrell. I think, and they have a real soft schedule coming up. I don't remember that. I think they have Indianapolis. I think they have Atlanta coming up. They have some weak defenses coming up. I think this team is going to score some points. You're going to get a lot of production out of San Diego.
And do yourself a favor. Go watch the Tyrell touchdown because what did he break? Like he just.
It was a 40-something yard touchdown where it was just like a quick little drag over the middle. Rivers flipped it to him, and he just takes off down the sideline, outrunning everybody. And then he gets held up about the 5 by 2 guys, gets hit hard, stays up, finds his way towards the goal line, gets into it with another guy, and still makes it in. He's a physical freak. If he's still available, please go get him.
Beast.
He's going to be good.
Absolute beast. And you like that they force a touchdown to Gates. They're going to get him those 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He gets boosted.
Woodhead's targets have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I think it'll be pretty much evenly distributed across the board.
And if you're a Benjamin owner,
Good for you.
Nice job on your new wide receiver 2 there.
Yeah.
If not, a lot of weeks he's going to put up wide receiver 1 numbers as you saw. So.
All right. Next biggest name I have on here, probably Doug Martin.
Douglas Martin.
Doug Martin with a hammy.
The muscle hamster hurts his hammy. Initial thoughts is, first of all, how long do we think he's out? A couple weeks? We don't have any definitive news.
It's hard because Wednesday hasn't come yet. Wednesday is when they released the official injury report.
Right.
But with hamstring, with a skill position player like that, I'm not feeling good about it. Definitely not feeling good about this week. Maybe not next week. I'm saying at least 2 weeks for Doug Martin.
I think you got...
Because it's one of those things, too, if you rush the guy back, he could hurt it again, and then he could be out for even more time. So, and they have a very capable backup in Charles Sims.
That's right.
To fill in. So I think they'll be okay with that. I don't know if there's too much to talk about with Martin, considering Sims is pretty widely owned.
Yes. If Sims is available, I'd be shocked. If he was available in your league.
Yeah.
If he's not, that should.
But he'll be a huge producer as long as Martin's out.
Top waiver priority. They get the Rams. This Sunday at 4. Kristen Michael had a nice little burst. Put up some good yards against him.
If you have Sims,
Hyde did well.
I would not hesitate to put him in your lineup.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
Get him in. Period.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think we need to spend any more time on it.
No. And then, he does get tough matchup in Denver, though, the following week. But again, if he's starting in the
volume is volume,
that's it,
and he's a great pass catcher. Right. He'll be all right.
Definitely disappointed once he took over, but I think that was
all right.
They did so.
Next, let's move on to an interesting name, Ameer Abdullah from it.
Yeah.
He leaves the game with a foot injury. Theo Riddick steps up, gets some carries.
Right.
Also, rookie Dwayne Washington, a big back, gets a little work too. What are your thoughts on how this backfield will shake out? Assuming Abdullah, I think he's done for this week. Foot is another shaky thing with the running back. I think he's out for multiple weeks.
Yeah, so this one actually sounds bad, they're saying. He needs to go see a specialist. Honestly, this could be something that sidelines him for like 2 months.
Okay.
So I think the Lions team is going to look very different.
Uh-huh.
Everyone was obviously saying if you didn't own Riddick, you need to pick him up. And after week 1, they would have said that. So if he's still available, again, I don't know what kind of league you're in. It's shameful.
Riddick, get him.
I don't want to diss the users though, but go get him.
The interesting name is
Dwayne Washington.
Okay.
Which in both leagues, weirdly, he was not picked up the first night.
Right.
And I think he's still unowned in the mansion right now.
Might be.
I don't have room for him.
Uh-huh.
Somebody does. Congratulations.
Somebody pick him up.
Right. But my thought is here is that, they're going to say, he's going to get 8 to 12 touches.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I think it
might be higher too.
A little more.
I think it might be higher too.
There's your nice big back.
I think they want to keep Riddick in the role he's in.
Yeah.
I don't think they want to expand him to a 3-down guy. I think he's very good how he is. I think that's how they see him.
Right.
Dwayne Washington, I think the opportunity is there.
You give Riddick the 6 catches, give Riddick the 6 to 8 carries, and let Washington pound.
Don't get me wrong. The Lions are still going to be very pass happy as they've been, but Washington is going to get. I think he's the bet to get the majority of carries.
Okay, I agree. We'll leave it at that with the Lions. Except I do want to raise one point about that game.
Yeah.
Golden Tate has me very concerned at this point.
I know
he has not gone over 80 yards.
Yeah, dating back to
some date well,
long time ago. The land before time type stuff.
This Marvin Jones kid is the real deal. He has fully replaced Calvin Johnson as a downfield threat. Are you panicking as an owner? Because I know I would be.
I think it's very safe to say, Marvin Jones is the number one receiver in this offense.
At
I think
2 or 3 rounds later.
That's been clear so far.
Yes.
Tate, the volume is still there, which is very, because he's getting the targets.
It's all around the line of scrimmage zone.
I know, it's very strange.
It's
very strange. I don't know if, I think it might be a buy low opportunity, depending on what you're going to get for him. But this offense is going to keep passing. There's no way he's going to be as inefficient as he's been the first 2 weeks for the rest of the way.
I think you're wanting to see those days when Calvin got hurt and he came back and he stepped in as the number one. That's what you're imagining. That's what everyone was imagining when they picked him in round 2 or 3 or 4 in shallower leagues.
Okay.
And the reality is that they have a real number one now, and he doesn't need to fill that role.
Okay.
And I think you're going to see a lot of these same 7 catches for 41 yards. And you're going to be frustrated all year, and the touchdown total is going to be low. And if you want to
see, I've seen him do
but
it
I
before,
am
though.
a bear.
I'm sure you are.
Okay? I'm a bear on that.
I'm somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
Hard for me to decide right now. If
I
had to say, I would explore trading for him. I wouldn't trade him away, obviously, because his value is
you find him
retardedly low.
It's
but if you can get a good deal for him, I wouldn't mind it. Let's move. Let's move to Jonathan Stewart in Carolina.
Oh.
He also leaves the game with a hamstring injury.
But this was classic.
Classic.
And this was one of the ones that bothered me because despite that he's probably ranked top 5 in running backs most likely get hurt, Fozzie Whitaker is basically unknown until everybody dumped their money on them in both of our leagues. And if your waivers haven't gone through, everyone's going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
You probably need him for 2-3
Ron
weeks.
Rivera said, I think he did definitely 1 week, maybe 2.
Okay.
Is the estimation. But again, it's a hamstring. It's tricky. You don't want to rush the guy back.
Yeah.
Carolina's winning and they're looking great. A lot of different factors could contribute to when he comes back. But the 2 running backs, Fozzie Whitaker, who stepped in and had over 100 yards in relief.
Right. He looked great.
And then the other guy of mentioned, Cameron Artis-Payne, who was inactive for the game, but last year when Stewart got hurt and was out towards the latter end of the year, it was actually Artis-Payne who came in and got the bulk of the carries and the work.
I agree.
Whitaker also on the roster last year.
Right.
So do things change now?
I think so. I don't see how a guy who was a healthy scratch week 1, and now Whitaker puts on a show against the Niners.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay.
Because, and this is me, I spent a chunk of change on Whitaker going into Monday to get him because he was the hot pickup.
Did you win it?
Yes.
Okay. At what price?
I got him at $11 out of my $100 budget. Right. But last night, Monday into Tuesday, I also slipped in and I picked up Artis-Payne.
Okay. That was well done.
Well done. Now I own the backfield for 2 weeks, hopefully.
Right. But who are you starting?
Well, I'm going to wait, see what the news is this week. But if I'm going to go on last year, Artis-Payne is the guy. I think they see Artis-Payne as the backup to Stewart. They like Whitaker as the pass catcher. He plays on special teams too. You have to remember, so he has to be active. Artis-Payne doesn't play special teams.
That's a good point.
They see him as more of the workhorse guy. They see him as a guy that can handle 15 carries a game. But with Stewart healthy and active, there's no reason to dress Artis-Payne.
Yeah.
Whitaker needs to be active for them to play on special teams, to be a third down guy.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be Artis-Payne.
I absolutely hear the logic. Let's not forget Mike Tolbert's active and
Burt is still there,
right?
Still has a place in my heart.
I 100% get the logic.
Okay.
Though I could see a 50-50 split at most. I just don't think after the clinic that he put on and the willingness they were to give him the rock.
Okay.
And maybe you're right. Now he's dressed. Now they know they need him.
Yeah.
Maybe he does get the first carry of the game. Jersey down on that. But everyone put their money on Whitaker, so maybe that's the slick play for you guys. Is
I think if you missed out on Whitaker and Artist
Payne
is still out there, slip in and grab him because for me, he could easily be the top carrier for the game.
Okay. And schedule-wise, you get Minnesota week 3, which is
tough
but
draw.
you get Atlanta week 4.
Good draw.
Ready to get gashed as they did by the Raiders. No, they lost.
Yes.
Moving on. Who else got freaking hurt?
I got Arian Foster up next.
Oh.
What else is new from this guy?
I want to spend 5 seconds on
5
this.
seconds on him. Good. He could be done forever as far as I'm concerned. He kind of blows. Running backs elsewhere on the roster. Kenyon Drake got a lot of work. I'm poo-poo on him. I don't think he's doing
I
anything.
think we're poo-poo on that back.
I think Jay, I'm poo-poo on him too.
And I think are we poo-poo on that defense yet? Or have we seen enough of this horrendous DB where it's going to be catch and all of a sudden I'm falling more in love with Jarvis Landry and Devontae Parker?
I think I'm very low on the Dolphins' backfield. I think they all suck. The Dolphins' defense sucks. I'm high on the pass catchers.
Right.
Tannenhill this week. I picked him up to stream him this week.
Nice.
Devontae Parker on one of my rosters.
Yeah.
Very happy to see him come back.
Not fully healthy yet, but
they say he's not even fully healthy.
But he looked good.
He looked good.
Catches in traffic,
baby.
He's not to steal one from ESPN. You got more steals.
A lot of targets, a lot of production. Parker.
I needed that. My team in the mansion sucks, so I need him
Parker
to
on the come up.
Yeah, that's right.
Dolphins backfield, bury him, burn him, piss on him, poo on him, get rid of him.
God would say if you're gonna make a move, spend $0 on a giant. I think that's it. But that's it.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
Done.
It's done. Arian Foster, we
If
knew you were going to
if
get
you're
hurt.
relying on somebody from the Dolphins backfield,
Right.
beyond Foster,
Right.
good luck.
No, but you know what? It feels good. Like, it's validation for me to, call Arian Foster a bad pick.
Okay.
On the account that he couldn't stay healthy for 2 games.
Yeah, he's done.
Moving on.
Thomas Rawls exits the game against the Rams, which looked like he was trending upward going into the game. They said he's the starter. He's the guy that
He's who we want.
He's who we want to be. He's our identity, Thomas Rawls. Okay. Well, turns out Thomas Rawls ain't too tough. Gets a bruise and has to leave the game.
Yep.
Okay. I don't think he's out for any period of time. It sounds like he'll be okay for next week.
But the face of that backfield.
Christian Michael showed up. I think he had about 10 carries for 60 yards. He looked better than Rawls. Rawls had 3 carries for negative 80 yards, something like that.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was bad.
Coming from a guy that I started Rawls over Michael this week, and it obviously didn't work out for me. So going into next week, I really don't know what to make. But assuming they're both healthy going into next, I don't know who I would go with. I lean towards Michael just because he's been better the first 2 weeks.
I think you have to.
You have to, right?
I'm trying to find out. I saw a crazy tweet from Ben Doroni on Twitter. He's very active in the fantasy community.
Listen, I'm pretty down on the whole Seattle offense.
He's targeting Rawls.
He's targeting Rawls?
He's targeting. He said in a non. I gotta find this effing.
I guess
tweet.
it depends on what you give up for him, but I'm pretty down on the whole offense.
Oh, I can't find
Russell Wilson hurt. The line looks like a complete disaster, worse than it was last year. Baldwin hurt now. Lockett hurt. He came back, but still an injury to watch. It's not looking good for our Seahawks.
The game was too predictable that we kind of it was stupid to put anyone in the Seahawks. They can't beat the Rams. And Wilson just did this. I don't know. Maybe it's a last year thing where they need the first half of the season to heat up. But guess what? If you're a Wilson owner, You don't have 8 games.
Yeah,
You're out of the playoffs by the time he gets good again. So
done.
I'm very concerned.
Very concerned.
As a Wilson owner, and it's time to make moves at the quarterback position. If you have him and don't have anyone else, it's time to look elsewhere. And if Matt Ryan is still out there for you guys, I would say go get him.
I would think about streaming options until this offense gets healthy and they prove they can block up front.
I agree. This is a disaster right now. But if you're putting your chips on a Rawls or Michael, I'm sorry, it's Michael now. Rawls really trending down for me.
Okay. The last big injury I have on my list, Donte Moncrief.
This one freaking hurt.
With the Colts. He left the game with what originally was thought was a concussion, I believe, but now it's turned out it's a shoulder issue.
Yeah.
So I believe he went for an extra look today. And we'll probably find out news on it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's not looking good. It's looking like a multi-week injury.
Not
So obviously he's done. A boost to Philip Dorsett,
of course,
who was already active.
Yep.
The first 2 weeks, a very talented guy.
Right.
He's going to fill in. I think definitely a flex play. Could approach wide receiver 3 territory with a good game and enough targets. I think he's a guy you have to go out and get if he's available. If he's on your bench, definitely a play for next week.
I think he absolutely is a must start in week 3. I'm going to verify the matchup for you guys just so you feel, because obviously the Denver matchup was rough.
Rough for any
That kind of played out as exactly how
expected.
we thought. They looked like crap.
Yes.
They get San Diego, who I don't know what to make of his defense now.
This guy, Verrett, their top corner, is a legitimate shutdown corner. He just shut down Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
Robinson did nothing. I don't think he had a catch until the end of the third quarter.
Move straight to there. Go pick up Dorsett, start him. That's it. That's what you're going to do, and you're going to do it for next week. Talk about A-Rod real quick. It's not an injury, but
I'm not panicking.
You're not panicking.
I'm not panicking.
I'm freaking out.
You're.
I'm freaking out. All right.
I don't think he can. I don't think he can. He's a very talented guy.
Jesus.
The Jaguars again look like they might be playing from behind a lot this year. They have shown no ability to run the ball. That may change when Ivory comes back, but I'm not ready to believe in it until I see it.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another point. Ivory, I think if you can find a way to get him on the cheap, go get him.
Yeah.
But I'll come back to Robinson. I think there's still going to be garbage time opportunities. I think he's too talented. I just don't see how he's going to be a complete bust this year.
I know.
I think he's at least a high-end wide receiver 2 for you.
I know.
He's been a disappointing first 2 weeks, and I understand. I own a Robinson share.
I know.
I do.
The line is so bad, but it was bad last year. He got the most. He was sacked the most last year.
Apparently, the Jags are very slow starters. Okay. He got 15 targets in week 1. Very inefficient. 5 last week. He was 3 for 54.
Right.
He gets another tough matchup this week against Baltimore, who's been pretty good so far this year against receivers.
Right.
But then he gets Indy.
That's nice.
Which is fantastic. Then he gets on a bye.
That's not good.
They're going to recoup.
Okay.
They're going to recoup, and I'm looking at the schedule right now. Let me give it this to you. He gets Chicago, who he'll light up.
Love that.
He gets Oakland, who he's going to light up.
The Raiders will still win that game.
Tennessee, good Matt. Middle of the road, maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see how that defense shakes out.
KC.
Chargers did it to him.
Chargers getting
lit up by Keenan Allen.
Hopkins went over 100 for a touchdown against them.
Right, yeah.
Then he gets Houston, Detroit. That's moving on. But I think there are brighter days ahead for Allen Robinson.
I would say, and I'm pissed because I'm an owner, but
don't sell if you're an owner.
Trade for him. Look for a sour owner,
Get him.
a guy who's freaking out like me.
Get him. get him.
and seeing if you can get him on the low.
Yeah. There's a lot of trade opportunities this week, I think, with a lot of injuries. There's going to be some 0-2 owners, myself included, that need a win this week.
Yeah, let's finish it on that. Yeah, I don't even. If I'm 0-2,
yeah,
you're 0-2.
Okay.
Is our season over?
No, absolutely. Especially after the week we just had, where so many rosters may have been shaken up. I think now's the time where you really have to try to be active in the trade market, see if you can find something.
Right.
Get a win this week. If you're 0-2, get a win this week.
You have to win
Find a way to get a win this week. Even if you got to look kind of short term in a trade or a pickup, spend a little extra money on a Fozzie Whitaker or an Ernest Payne.
Yeah.
Spend a little extra money on a Dwayne Washington. Get somebody who you know you can plug in right away and will give you some points. But no, 0-2. There's you can come back from that.
Okay.
Don't worry.
All right. We can call Zol. We can talk about Redskins.
Let's get Zolby on the line.
While we do that, you call him.
I'll call him.
Oh, he says he's got to go to bed.
No. There's no bed.
So we'll see if he picks up, folks.
Hey, jackass.
You're on the air.
You're on the line.
You're on the air.
How you gentlemen doing?
Good. How are you? Is it past bedtime or are we still okay?
We're still okay.
How was the game of 2K? Did you win?
I didn't play 2K. I can't start a game and then stop. That can't happen. I didn't even play.
So
I'm watching Harry Potter instead.
You're watching Harry Potter. Which episode?
The Phoenix one. So
You
Order of the Phoenix.
You Order of the Phoenix. Not a bad choice. I also hear you're a Madden guy. Is that true?
Sort of, kind of. Yeah, I mean, I ain't great at either, you know. I play when I got time, you know.
So it sounds like you suck at both.
Well, I'm probably better than you, but yeah.
Well,
I kind of suck at both. I'd be better than you, but yes, kind of suck at both anyway, yeah.
Okay, probably not, but okay. Agree to disagree.
I'm vegan keeper, though, by the way.
Okay,
so.
well, dreams don't count, but alright. We'll agree to disagree.
Alright.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
At such a late hour.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm a long-term listener. Happy to be here,
We want to talk to you about your team, the bus drivers.
Mm-hmm. We take kids to school,
Oh, God.
Well, that's coming into question now, too.
Yes.
You're 0-2, as am I and Hank Fraley, so I won't trash you on that.
You're 14th.
But you're pretty bad. It's looking grim for the bus drivers. The wheels are starting to come off.
Yes.
The steering wheel's loose. Spark plugs are breaking down. You're almost out of gas. What is going on? How do we fix this thing?
Hey, guys, this season could not have started out worse. First off, Devontae Freeman felt good about him. I'm thinking, people are talking about how he second half he wears down. Okay, you know what? I think he did wear it down. Fair enough. Now we got fucking Tevin Coleman now coming and getting half the touches.
Yeah.
Did not expect that.
Didn't we tell you that? I specifically told you that.
I didn't. That hurts. I did not expect that, though.
Okay.
I did not expect that.
All right. Zolby, here's my thing.
All right, what's your...
I'm going to go back to before week 1.
Yes.
For this thing that you've created here. Okay? Back to the draft. You left the draft, all right, with your top 3 receivers. Who are they? Do you know who they are?
I do. Well, that's
No.
That's the thing I fundamentally disagree with you guys on that. It's not about having balance. It's about having the best starters. So I don't think you need a great top 3 receivers or great 2 top running backs. It's about having a good starting line. So I fundamentally disagree with that.
Okay.
Now, do my receivers suck? Absolutely. But I think that's a huge fundamental flaw. If you draft two good running backs, and my running backs didn't turn out well, Devontae Freeman and Rawls, so that didn't turn out well, but that's a huge fundamental flaw. If that's your philosophy to me, is when we have two flex positions, and that gives you so much flexibility, is having two flex positions,
Hence
is
the
that
word
you don't
flex.
have to have good receivers to necessarily win. So I completely disagree with you guys on that part.
Fair point. But who are your starting receivers?
Alan Hearns, Kayvon Austin, and it was Funchess, but I think Wallace has got to be my three
Mike
now.
Wallace has definitely taken over as your wide receiver 1.
Who about wide receiver 1? What was that?
Mike Wallace is your wide receiver 1.
Nah, I mean, Hearns is still my 1.
Well,
Hey, but no, really what made my wide receiver corps look so bad is, and this is what I regret, is taking Luck early. But so I take Gronk's number 1, which, you know what, to me, number 1 is go steady. I don't need upside.
I
but
hear
when
you.
Gronk
I'm with
early,
you there.
know what,
I'm with
he's
you
just
there.
providing me what I need. Now he's going to hurt, that sucks. That's kind of going to come with the territory a little bit. Bo's going steady there.
Okay.
And then when you take a QB and a tight end within the first 4 or 5 rounds,
yeah.
that's when you're going to be weak at a position. So what I regret is going Luck. And that also coincides with how the league went league on quarterback. So
Right.
the way the rest of the league drafted really screwed me. And I mean, props to you guys on that.
So you got no value on Luck, admittedly.
Right, and I thought I was getting him because I got him like 20 picks after when he usually went. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to pull the trigger. I'm
Agreed.
getting value. But when you go where people getting drafted 3-4 rounds later than where they're getting drafted based on what you guys did,
Yeah.
then it wasn't value. So,
Agreed.
yeah, absolutely.
I
It
think-
looked like value, but it wasn't.
I think brighter days are ahead for Luck. We saw what he could do in Week 1. He put up a 37.5 spot. Last week was a tough draw against Denver, only 11.5 points. But I think he's a steady 20-point producer probably from here on out. I want to get your thoughts on a couple players on your team.
All right, go for it.
2 being your running backs, Devonta Freeman, Thomas Rawls. What are you expecting from those 2 guys for the rest of the year?
Right, so we touched on Freeman a little bit. I mean, I actually did expect big things from him. I didn't expect Coleman to be as big of a factor. I expect him to be a piece. But it's kind of looking like he might be 50-50, and that really frightens me a lot.
Yeah.
So that one frightens me a lot. And the guys around him, though, that got drafted, I forget the exact names, but there were question marks there, too. So, I like hindsight, yeah, and do I regret it a little bit? Yeah, but I don't feel too bad about that pick. Now, Rawls, that one hurts. That one hurts. Christine Michael, I mean, that dude, he seems like, Rawls seems like the backup almost now.
Yeah.
So, that's, as your number 2 running back, that's frightening. And I was thinking my running backs. I jumped in, I thought, Matt Jones was also just a solid running back. I thought he was going to be a running back too. So I thought I really had, a running back 1 in Freeman, borderline 1 in Rawls, and then a 2 in Matt Jones. Matt Jones, I actually think he is solid, so I'm cool with that. But,
Right.
yeah, I'm frustrated, gentlemen. I'm very frustrated.
Well,
very frustrated.
You did hit on Crowell. I think
Yeah.
he'll be solid for you. Hopefully the rest of the way. I'm hoping as long as McCown, even if he's hurt, I think Crowell retains value. Hugh Jackson has shown a commitment to running with him, even though he's not too involved with the passing game. He is the guy to tote the rock. Duke Johnson is kind of an afterthought there. Matt Jones I'd be worried about because Washington just doesn't seem to be able to run the ball at all. And they seem to be falling behind in games, and they go pass happy. So I'm not sure on Jones. Crowell, I like. Rawls, we touched on earlier in the show. It's trending toward Kristen Michael, as you said. Devonta Freeman, here's my question. My thing with him, last year, even if you remove the touchdowns, he was heavily targeted in the passing game. I think he finished with like 70 receptions, something like that.
I wanted to get to that.
Zolby, he only has 4 targets for 4 catches, 20 receiving yards so far through 2 games. Tevin Coleman,
all in game 1. I don't know if he caught a
Tevin
pass.
Coleman seems to be the guy they're throwing the ball to.
That's what hurts me the most is, I thought he was going to be a huge receiver out of the backfield too. So I thought it was more about touches with him, not necessarily the amount of runs.
Right.
I didn't realize that Coleman would be taking touches in all facets of the game.
Uh-huh.
I thought even if Freeman only gets 10 rushes a game, he's still going to get 7 targets a game.
Yeah.
So that's where it hurts.
Yeah. All right, so looking at your roster, too, you have 3 tight ends rostered, 2 being injured guys between Gronk and Eifert. Your only healthy tight end right now is Jordan Cameron. What's the idea here? What's going on?
Well, okay, So the rationale behind that makes sense. So I drafted Gronk, okay.
Right.
So Eifert, I drafted him with Gronk when Gronk was healthy, right?
Very late.
So
You got Eifert very late,
So
right?
Eifert, I was thinking will come back later in the year, be okay. I thought he could be a flex guy for me. And then, now Gronk is hurt, and I can't plug in Eifert. So now I have to bring in a 3rd tight end, Jordan Cameron.
Right.
So now I'm stuck with 3 tight ends. And now by the way, if you look at my bench, it's absolutely disgusting. I have 2 Carolina wide receivers and 2 tight ends. I understand it's disgusting, but the rationale behind the tight end, I had to bring in Jordan Cameron because Gronk.
Right.
And this is where drafting Eifert became an issue.
Right.
And I just didn't foresee that.
Okay. Now, listen. This is just between you and me. This isn't going on anything, all right? I have 3. I took you off the speaker. I have 3 healthy tight ends, okay? I'm looking to make a deal. Look at my team. Just a couple minutes after we get off the line. Look at my team.
Yeah.
Maybe we can work something out.
Gronk's playing this week. I'm gonna be fine.
No, he's not playing this
I'm
week.
gonna be fine.
He's not playing this week.
The dude's playing.
It's in 2 days. He's not playing.
All right. I want to make a couple points here. One is each team in both of our leagues that took Tavon Austin are dead last in their respective leagues. 14 to... I don't know if that's some crazy coincidence, but I just wanted to throw it out there. 0-2,
It's food for
14th
thought.
place.
Food for thought.
It's food for thought. So I'll say that. But I also, you said you fundamentally disagree with that. You don't need great wide receivers. But here's where I'm going to come back at you with a rebuttal off the top of the cuff. The wide receivers in this class, in this round, are far less likely to bust than any running backs that we've seen in this round. Because we know from experience that running backs in the 1st to 4th round have a huge bust rate, and that the top scoring guys in our leagues for the past couple of years have been wide receiver heavy, period. Therefore, making Devontae Freeman, who already had some uncertainty, an insane pick. And I want to yell at Matt Vallow for picking him at pick 9 in his league.
Idiot.
I mean, what a moron. I don't even want to know who he skipped over.
No.
But, that gets me fired up. Because...
No, I get what you're saying. I'm saying the fundamental flaw is you don't have to be strong in every single position. So, yeah, sure, I'm weak in wide receiver, but it's not like, hey, if you're weak at running back, you're going to fucking suck. Or you're weak at wide receiver, you're going to
And
suck.
I don't think...
If you are stacked at other positions, you're going to be fine. It doesn't have to be
and I
a balanced team, is what I'm saying.
I completely agree. However, if you want to stack it, you better stack it in the wide receiver toilet. That's what I'm saying. There's too much risk with these running backs, and the trend continues. Look at this round. Mark Ingram, question mark already. Eddie Lacy, huge question mark on the rest of your value. Jamal Charles, huge question mark on remaining year value. Let me go to the 3rd round. Doug Martin, Thomas Rawls in the 3rd, Latavius Murray, job insecurity, Carlos Hyde, bust. C.J. Anderson is the only stud in this round. And meanwhile, it's just consistency from the receivers. All of the 1st round wide receivers have stepped it up, with the exception of Robinson. And Green had a dud last week, but I'm not concerned after a 40-point outburst. second round except for Allen's injury and Watkins because he's hurt. I think everyone stepped it up so far. Maybe Cobb's underwhelming a little bit, but he's not killing you like Devontae's killing you. So that is my point, and that's where I get heated. I think you gotta trust the wide receivers. You're less likely to screw up your draft. Last thoughts, any comments, suggestions before we hit the road?
Not much, man. I'm very disappointed with my team. I have 4 teams, by the way. Went 0-4.
Oh,
So, so and my Redskins lost, so I'm not exactly in the highest point of my life right now.
Yes.
0-4 fan.
All right.
The Redskins.
So, outlook on the Redskins. What do you got for us?
I would think next time, though, next time I want to be on the show and, in person, my good looks come off better than, talking about my terrible team. So, yeah.
All right, yeah. Well, as we expand technologically, we will
We'll get you on.
we'll get more video-based guests here and there. Might flip a laptop around towards the camera.
Maybe.
We'll figure it out. But the ladies would certainly love to see that. 2 minutes, Redskins breakdown. What's going on? Are you freaking out? You got 1:30, no more.
All right. So, obviously, got to start out with Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk is getting a lot of shit about how he sucks. He's not great. I think he's a good quarterback. He's a fucking Brad Johnson. He's Trent Dilfer. Maybe a little Dennis Jones. Don't worry, that motherfucker. But he needs to have a good running game to support him. That's not what he has. He's not going to go for the long balls as Sean. He missed James Crowder on a ball. But I think our issue is defense, not Kirk Cousins. And Kirk's got to play better, but our defense sucks, and that's our issue. And fortunately, I do think the division is not great. The Eagles look better than I suspected.
Yeah, I think the whole division looks a lot better than you suspected, and I think going into the year, I think a lot of people, about half the people, had their money on the Redskins to win the division. The other half had it on the Giants. All of a sudden, you look like the weakest team in the division.
I would agree with that. I do think we look like the weakest team. I think that every team in the division now looks respectable. I don't think anybody looks really good, but the Eagles, not an easy team to beat. Cowboys, not easy. Giants, not easy. Nobody's easy to beat. I see every team as a solid team, which is why I think the Redskins could win it, because there's not going to be a runaway team. There's no chance anybody runs away with this, man. But I'm not looking good. The Redskins are not looking good, but I don't think we're out of it. But I'm not too hopeful.
All right, Zolby, quick true or false, and then I think we can let you go.
All right, what's that?
Redskins, take a page out of the Rex Ryan playbook. Jay hires John as an assistant, turns the season around. True or false?
So you're asking if Jay hires his older brother who's a better coach to become an assistant under him?
Yes. Turns the season around.
Yeah, I think John's an awesome coach. He's awesome.
True. Thank you.
Yeah.
Book it.
Yeah.
Zolby's on record. Redskins, if you're listening out there, Dan Snyder, go get John Gruden.
That's your next Gruden's grinder. Bring him in himself.
Bring him in. Out of the booth, onto the field, championship.
I love it.
All right,
I appreciate you guys having me on. Long-time listener. Love it.
Thanks for coming on. It's been a blast. Go brush up on your Madden, your FIFA, your 2K, whatever you have to do. Maybe I actually scratch that. Maybe you should spend some more time on Roto World.
Yeah. Or spend a single dollar on the waiver wire. That
maybe you should listen to this show a little more often. I don't know.
Well, he said he's a long-time listener. Well, take some notes.
Take some notes. Review a little bit on your commute to work. I don't know.
All right,
take notes, guys.
We love you. We love you. We hope to see you soon in person, and we thank you for the time.
All right. Good luck the rest of the way, Zo.
All right, gentlemen. Take it easy.
Be good.
Thanks.
All right. Before we go, we are done with episode 4. Before we go, I'm going to leave you with the headline on the top of my page. This is the only thing that brought me a smile in what was a god-awful weekend. which I went 1-2. But the headline on my Hank Fraley page says, Enzo Amore embarrasses the Viper, makes an early statement.
And that was a 80 point.
That is an 85.3 shellacking. And might I add, that's 2 Toyota blowouts for me in this league.
Rough week for Eric. Congrats to you on the large point total. You're sitting pretty in first.
That's right.
But I think that does it for us. Episode 4.
Let's hope for a better week 3.
Better week 3.
And we will come back happier and more smiles for episode 5.
See you next time.
Thank you.